Hi, Amanda.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. Good.
Well, thank you for giving your time today to come over and share your knowledge about music. And Amanda is a Wilder certified educator, and Amanda is from the United States, and now she's part of the Trinus team. And we're so happy to have her in our team. She has come and touch every of our students with all her knowledge and her ability to connect with them right now that is virtual. And we're so happy that we got the chance right now to have this opportunity for Amanda to share the knowledge with everyone that is joining us today. So, Amanda, I will leave the spot with you so you can start talking about if music makes us smarter.
Great. This is something that I feel very strongly about, so I'm very excited to talk about this topic. Um, I want to start off with a story from my own life. Growing up, we sang songs just kind of casually like everyone else, was not the musically gifted child by any means, not a prodigy. But when I became 12 years old in schools, where I was going to school, we had the opportunity, the option was optional. You could play an instrument. You could pick up an instrument and join the band class. And I decided to do this. There was a old clarinet laying in the closet from I don't know what that my family had. And so I decided, sure, I'll try this. Why not? Um, Picked it up and started playing in the band. We had a small little band class. There were probably 15 or 20 kids is all. That was pretty small for the school I was going in. Um, and also this year, so it was one important thing about when I was 12, but at the same time, school all that year they were prepping us. I would say holding over our head, but it was exciting. The school administration kept talking this up. We're getting older, and as our students, as we as students were getting older, we were going to have the opportunity to choose our classes. There were different electives we could choose that we wanted to take. And band class was the first one for me. You could only choose one that year, but from 12 years on, you could choose more and more and more classes according to your interests that would guide you in your education. And so, we were anticipating this, oh, next year we can choose 3 classes instead of one, and the year after that we can choose 4 classes. Administration also said, we're going to give you this test. It's an aptitude test. It's going to help, it's going to tell you what you're good at. It's going to tell you things that will be easy for you. It's going to point you at a career path. It's this long test, but you'll get these great results back, and it'll tell you all these things. It'll tell you what you need to do. And so for me, this was really important. I had no idea. I maybe I was a little bit mature in realizing I'm 12. I have no idea what job I want to have when I grow up. Like the childhood dreams of like, oh, I want to be an astronaut were starting to wear off. So I had no idea. I'm taking all these classes. I'm going to be in high school soon. I have no idea what class to take. I need this test to tell me what to do. And so, sure enough, it was about halfway through the year, I think, they give us this test. It was long. I think it had like 400 questions. Just, do you prefer this or this? They had a math portion where you had to do all these math problems and English and science, all those kind of things. I think it took like 2 hours. It took like the whole morning of school. Filled out the papers, filled in the little bubbles. It was all multiple choice. And then our teacher said, okay, we're sending the tests off to be evaluated, and you'll hear back in a week or two. And waited with that anticipation. Oh, is today the day we're going to get our tests back? Like, I want to know, do I take more physical education classes? Do I take more science classes? Do I keep going with music? Do I do like more hands-on things like my woodworking and my metalworking? Do I do more art classes? Do I do like child development classes or those kind of things? I had no idea there were so many options available. So it was 2 or 3 weeks later, and it was the beginning of the day, and first thing in the morning, the principal comes on. Our tests are back today. Everyone will get a packet of information showing, what questions you did well on, what questions you didn't do so well on. And at the end of the packet, what they gave you was one piece of paper, and it was a printout, a very basic black and white printout, as if you're looking at someone's head down. So it was like a picture of your brain, and it was supposed to tell you the brain was cut in half, and there was a dot somewhere on your brain to show you, oh, you're very right-sided or you're very left-sided in your brain thinking. So you should do things that use your left side of your brain. That's going to be easier. You should use the right side of your brain. That's going to be easier for you. So I had a brain scan, just kind of a mock-up telling you this is the part of your brain you use the best. And then it had a little paragraph of, because you use this part of your brain, these things will be easy for you. Do this, go into a career of this. It just laid it out for you. Just a simple 3 or 4 sentences. And so we were all so excited to read this. And I pulled out my packet and I flipped through everything. I really didn't care what questions I got wrong on the test. That didn't matter anymore. But I flipped to the last page. I wanted to see, what part of my brain do I use? I don't know. And this is a very, very poor drawing. So the brain scan part looked a little bit like this. Here's your brain. And, other people, I was kind of like looking over my shoulder, listening to what other people were saying, and other people, oh yeah, like, look, my dot's right over here on the edge. I have a dot. Or, oh yeah, like mine's kind of in the middle up here. That's the part of my brain that I use. To be fair, I don't think where like up and down mattered. I think it was just showing you how right and left brained you were. But we were all excited to see where's everybody's dots. I'm 12. That's like the most exciting thing that's happening in school today. Where is your dot on your brain? And so we had band class that day, and I kind of had kept my results to myself. I was very nervous about them. But band, that was my jam. I really enjoyed band class, and it was a smaller class. We had a couple minutes while we were putting away our instruments at the end of band class. So I had my good friends, and I called them over. I said, guys, did you get your brain scans back? And everyone's like, yeah, well, they all kind of looked nervous about it like I did. And I said, well, what do yours say? Of course, that's the most important thing. I want to know what everyone else's says. What do my friends say? And I said, so we all get ours out together, of course, and found out that we all had the same results. All of ours, our dot was right in the middle of our brain, just like right on the line. And we're like, that's weird. Aren't you supposed to be like dominant, either right-brained and you're artistic and you can create all these things, or left-brained, like you're really analytical and you love math? How can you just be in the middle? That doesn't make any sense. Like, that doesn't help. So we all read our little paragraphs under, and this was the part that like we all just felt terrible about. I think our paragraphs, all of them, verbatim, said something like, you have no clear skills in any area. There's nothing that stands out as being a strength for you, but you will probably find success in any endeavor you undertake. That was it. And that's how we read it. We're like, I was really hoping it would tell me like, oh yeah, you need to do this. You're going to be great. Go for it. And we just all felt like, well, now what? And so it really, like, that was my attitude in school. Like, we got to the end of the year and we had to sign up for the 3 classes we get to choose for the next year. I was like, I have no clue. This test was supposed to tell me what to do. It didn't tell me what to do. It just said, like, go do whatever you want. And that was not a good answer for me when I was 12. So I did. I just like, okay, I guess band was good this year. I really liked it. Sign up for band again. choir sounds interesting. I mean, the music thing's going okay. I guess I'll take choir. Sure, why not? You know, they're putting on a musical, or we could be in the musical this year. You know, the acting and the singing. Okay, sure, why not? I'll do that. But now looking back, I did. That's all I did in school. I just took all the musical things that I could do. And, you know, I wasn't the best musician ever. Obviously, I'm not performing opera. I'm not releasing CDs, whatever. But now I look back on that experience and I think about myself compared to some other classmates that I had who went on and specialized in amazing, amazing things. But I think I totally misinterpreted that paragraph about my aptitude. You know, that test was basically saying, go do whatever you want because you're going to be good at everything. Sure, you don't have one thing like, oh, sorry, you know, math is going to be terrible for you. Don't even try. It didn't say that. It said, sure, whatever you want to do, you're going to be good at. And that's something that I've experienced, and I credit that to my musical experience and my musical training through my life. I've worked a large variety of jobs in my life. Education has always been kind of my thing that I've trained for. But as life circumstances come, you know, maybe I took a job at a flower shop and was designing flowers. I've worked at restaurants, doing jobs at restaurants. I've worked online transcribing documents for people as they talk. Um, I, all these experiences, and my supervisors are always pleased with my work. They always come and say, how did you pick this up so fast? You have an aptitude for this. I say, actually, I really don't. I just picked it up quickly, and I really, really credit music with that largely. Um, I'm going to preface this by saying I'm not a musicologist. People study music and the effects of music for a living. It's a whole science. That is not me, but because I've experienced so many great things with it, I am interested. You know, can this work for other people? And so I've looked into it, at least that far, a little bit. And what science has found, you know, there was that catchphrase going around for quite a while, and it still is around. You know, music makes you smarter. Play music for your children even before they're born. You know, if they listen to this kind of music, they'll be smarter. It'll raise their IQ. But really, scientists are finding that it's much more complex than that. But one of the things music does do, as evidenced by my own aptitude test, I experienced this, is that when you play music, when you produce music, it uses both sides of your brain simultaneously. And not only does it use both sides of your brain, but it makes your brain work together. It creates a stronger bridge between both sides of your brain. And that's an actual thing. There is a bridge between two sides of your brain. And this does a couple things. Number one, it increases the neuroplasticity of your brain, is what it's called. That's your brain's ability to adapt. So what they found is that, for instance, people that suffer from strokes or for some reason some part of their brain is damaged, it doesn't work anymore, those with musical training, their brain will rewire itself and put that function in another part of the brain. They can do that because of the strong connection between both sides of your brain that music has created. People that don't have a strong musical connection, they can still rewire their brain. It's much harder. It takes much longer. So, for instance, they found that any stroke victim, this was a study done, I think, by Harvard Medical. Any stroke victim, they're going through speech therapy to relearn to speak again. What they've actually found, they actually don't focus on speaking. They teach people songs. They focus on singing. For some reason, words that you can't speak, these stroke victims can sing and learn to speak afterwards. They sing them first. They're able to master that ability before they can regain the ability to speak. I just think that's crazy. And science is still studying this, is still trying to explain a lot of this. They haven't been able to explain why of all this yet, but it's a major field that scientists are studying now. So with this neuroplasticity, they also found that singing and music in any form, it interweaves our sensory input. So when you're singing, not only are you making sound, you're listening to the sound of other people around you, assuming you're singing in a group or you're in a band or anything like that. So you're making noise, you're listening, your speech centers of your brain are operating, functioning, digesting what is being said, and just all aspects of your brain are working together. That blends, I don't know how to say this. That's like a very much higher order thinking skill, right? It's like your brain is multitasking and it's learning how to do that. I mean, multitasking has a bad rap when you're like, oh, I'm knitting and watching TV and talking to my friend on the phone. No, this is really good for your brain. It's learning to organize data that's coming in. It's learning to prioritize the data that's coming in, and it's syncing it all up. Our bodies have internal clocks. It runs on that. If our internal clocks get off, then many problems can happen. Music helps our body's clocks and our brain and all the synchronous stuff. It helps it sync up. So it's really great. And also music helps so I talked about the connection between your brain. The music helps build that connection between our brains. Makes it stronger. The strong, like literally it's pathways for neurons to fire. So the more pathways you have to fire, the faster your brain processes information, the faster it can do all of this. Does music make you smarter? No. That's too simple of a question. It does help you think faster. It does. I was surprised to learn this when I was doing research for this. Music does make every part of your brain bigger and more developed. It's not just, oh, here's the music right here, and I have a very developed this part of my brain. No, they've studied musicians' brains compared to non-musicians. Every part of a musician's brain is bigger and more developed than a non-musician's brain. Kind of interesting. So how does that benefit us when we're teaching? Because I am such a huge proponent of bringing music into the classroom and giving this gift to our children. Do we need to sign up all of our children for music lessons? No. I mean, if they show that interest and they want to do that, absolutely, it's going to help them. But that's not what they're saying is the key. It's not going to just make everyone instantly smarter if you play a musical instrument. But bringing music into the classroom does a lot of amazing things. Again, me from my own from my own experience, I've never actually been interested in math. Personal confession. I've done really well at it when I take math classes. It's not an interest, and but I still remember in high school I had a teacher who would bring music into our math classes, and this was a more advanced math class. Couldn't tell you what math we were learning, but it required us memorizing a lot of equations. We had to know the equation and know where to put numbers in, and we were tested. We couldn't have the equation with us when we tested. We just had to memorize it. So every week, this teacher would come in and they'd have a new song for us to learn an equation. And they'd write the equation on the board, and we'd all go, oh my gosh, I can know all these letters and numbers, and I don't even know what those mean. I'm never going to remember this. Why do we have to know this? Blah, blah, blah. And our teacher would start singing, and we couldn't help it. By the end of the week, we had the equation memorized. Even to this day, I still have the song. -b plus or minus square root b squared over 4ac. all over 2A. I can still write this equation. I actually have no idea what it is. I haven't used this equation since I took that class, but the song is in my head still. It won't get out. I can't. I think it's going to be with me till I die. One of the most rewarding things as a teacher is using this tool. Music is in your brain even when you don't want to think about it. So it's really fun for me bringing music into my classes, and we do it for a variety of reasons. Either to memorize things, we do the times tables with music. Maybe it's a song that relates to something we're learning in our class. Maybe it's a song from a culture or a historical song we're talking about. I'll bring it to my students, and then I hear them, they'll just be coloring in their book or, whatever, doing their own personal work, and they're singing, "This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine." They don't know if I said, "Oh, nice song," they'd probably like, "Oh my gosh, like I didn't even know I was singing. Now I'm embarrassed. I was singing by myself. Somebody heard me." They don't know they're doing it, but it's in their head giving him those messages of, yeah, you do have a light. You need to let it shine. Um, it's really great. It's in your head even when you don't want it to be. Another thing that is great that at Trinus is just amazing. I think all of our teachers do this. We use music to set the mood, to set the tone and the intention. Whether it's first thing in the morning and we're excited to be here, so we're going to jump and sing and do some activities and just have a good time and some laughs together, because that's what you want to do when you come to class. You want to have a good time. You want to know you're going to have fun with your teacher and your friends. Always starting with some fun songs, some movement songs. They're just fun. And then later, when it's okay, it's time to settle down. It's one thing to say, "All right, everyone, we're gonna settle down. I have a story for you today." And meanwhile, you're teaching 5-year-olds and they're bouncing off the walls. It's another thing to bring a song with an intention of, our song that we sing before our stories, which we take our stories very seriously. It's, this is time to listen. This is time to take it in. We're not going to talk. We're just going to listen and soak up the wisdom of the story. So we might have another story right in my classes right now. We've been talking about stories from history of the Hebrew people. So it's a lot of struggle. It's a lot of sacrifice. It's a lot of weighty things that we're talking about. So we sing a song, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. It's a Hebrew song. It's a traditional song. It goes on. The students don't know what the words mean. They're just singing along, but it's that feeling. It's just like, whew, now we're down to earth. This is where we are. We're all here together. And it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful to all do together. So it grabs our attention. We just can't even help it. It just pulls you in, and it settles you of, here I am, right? We're here together, and this is what we are doing moving forward. I just can't say enough about the music we do in school. And in schools, in Trinus specifically, I think they do a wonderful job of incorporating music into the curriculum. Singing as a class, again, that's a huge social thing. Here I am myself. I have to create something that blends with those around me. I can't be my own solo songbird. There's times for that, and there's times when I need to listen to myself. I need to listen to those around me. I need to follow the social cues of, we all have to stop. We all have to start. We all have to be in our place at the right time. It's this huge social order learning of, we're creating this together. We're in this together. This is our community. This is our group. This is where we're safe. It's a huge community builder and a social builder. It helps us control our impulses with the starting and the stopping. And it's emotional too. It's an emotional learning to express these feelings. Maybe we don't know the words, like the song I sang. maybe we don't know the words, but you can feel something. You feel something when you sing. When you sing together, you feel something as a community that builds you. I just want to say I think that music has so many gifts to us if we try to bring it in our lives. We don't need to be professional musicians. You don't need to practice an hour every day to feel the benefits of music in your lives. Studies have shown even children at the age of 5 who participate in singing, their brains are already different than children that don't sing just casually. It is a huge gift that we need to use in our own lives and bring to our children in their school and in their education as well. I hope I didn't talk too fast, but we have a few minutes for questions. If anybody has any questions, you can comment, and Ms. Cassandra's watching the comments. So please, if anyone has any questions or anything else they'd like me to touch on, I'm happy to turn the time over to you.
Thank you, Amanda, for your time. And I think we touched so many like important topics about music. Like music helps you in the emotional part, in the social part, and in academic. Memorize things like the multiplications, as you mentioned. And for me, it's amazing. Like sometimes a song comes in the radio that I haven't heard years, like the Backstreet Boys, you know, and
Yeah.
and you still remember every every lyric of that song. And yeah, music helps a lot in very different areas. And we encourage parents to use it at their home too, to establish like routines, to change like the transition time that we use it a lot in early childhood. And it helps the children to be ready to transition from one activity to the other one. But
exactly.
I love what you mentioned about how when you're singing, you also have to be so connected to the other person so you are in tune. So that way it all like comes together as one. And I've seen a lot of like the research that you mentioned as well, that when the musicians are playing something, like you can see the brain, everything like turning and lighting up, and all the parts of the brain are working. So thank you so much for sharing that personal experience, that when the test came out, it showed that you had no inclination. And that's amazing because, as you mentioned, the possibilities are multiple. You don't have to just go to something of the right side or the left side. So it opened up instead of like looking at, oh my God, I don't have an inclination. It's like the possibilities are so many.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and Carrie Riley shares that music also helps teach new language. And, you know, repetition, they're repeating, and at the beginning they're not understanding, but then little by little they understand what the words mean. So you're expanding the vocabulary. So there's so many like interesting benefits of music. And as I mentioned, we encourage everyone to use it at home with their children if they're having a hard time with any like subjects, social study, history, or you know, like they can make it a song and make it interesting for them, and that way they can connect. But thank you, Amanda, so much for your time and sharing your knowledge about this topic. As I mentioned at the beginning, it's a topic that I find so interesting because before I started getting involved in the Waldorf pedagogy, I didn't know all this like amazing benefits that music has, and something that is so unique of Trinus and Waldorf is that music is not only one like subject that you do it at certain time and like once a week, but it's integrated in like the different subjects. And now you gave all the reasons why we do it. And well, thank you so much for your time. And I see that we don't have many questions. So, well, everyone, thank you for joining us today. And we have once a month a topic that we'll bring to all our viewers because we wanted to continue to share this nice tips and knowledge that our educators have, or our special guests have. We believe it's very important to, no matter what stage of our life we are, to continue educating ourselves to continue looking for better ways of like learning ourselves or helping others like learn. So thank you everyone to join us, and thank you, Amanda. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.